In the dead of night, when the last train has long vanished down the line, a man steps onto the deserted platform dragging a big German shepherd behind him. The station lights flicker weakly, casting long shadows across the concrete. The dog resists, paws scraping, whining in panic, trying everything to stay close to the only person he has ever loved. But the man says nothing. He loops a short, cheap leash around the metal bench, ties a knot that won't let the dog lie down, and walks away without once looking back. The German shepherd lunges, barks, claws at the ground until his pads bleed, but the man disappears into the darkness. Then silence. Only the wind howling through the empty tracks. Rain begins to fall, hard and cold, soaking his thick coat to the skin. Yet he does not move from that bench. He sits tall, eyes locked on the place where the train should appear, believing with every beat of his heart that his owner will come back for him. But no train comes. The night grows colder, crueler. Just as he finally lowers his proud head to rest, ears battered by wind, he hears it, faint, carried on the storm from the abandoned rail yard beyond the platform. A tiny, broken whimper. Barely alive. Something inside him stirs. Slowly, painfully, he rises. He has to know what it is. He does not yet understand that everything is about to change forever. When morning finally arrives, the sky is still the color of steel. Rain streaks down the grimy station windows. The German shepherd is still there, soaked through, trembling, curled as best he can beneath the narrow overhang of the ticket booth. He does not bark. He does not cry. He simply watches the empty tracks, waiting for the man who will never return. His fur is caked with mud and blood from the leash that has cut into his neck. His tail is pressed tight against his body. Every time a distant train rumbles in the haze, he lifts his head, eyes wide with desperate hope. But the train always passes. And no one ever steps off. 3 a.m. The platform is empty except for the low buzz of the dying lights and the metallic smell of rain on steel. The man's boots strike the concrete like hammer blows. He does not speak. He never speaks kindly, but tonight there is no sound at all, just the drag of the leash, the scrape of claws, the dog's low, frantic whines as he is pulled toward the bench. The knot is quick, brutal. A cheap nylon cord looped twice around the iron leg, short enough that the German shepherd cannot lower his chest to the ground. The man tests it with one sharp yank, the dog's head jerks, throat choking on the collar. Satisfied, the man turns. No pat, no good boy, no last look. Just the crunch of gravel under his shoes until even that is swallowed by the wind. The dog throws himself against the leash. Again. Again. Barking until his voice cracks raw, until blood beads where the cord saws into his neck. The taillights of the man's truck vanish beyond the crossing signal. Then nothing. He sits. Back straight, ears pricked toward the black tunnel where every train must come from. Rain needles down, hard and sideways, plastering his coat to his ribs. He does not lie down. He will not lie down. Lying down would mean giving up, and he is a good dog. Good dogs wait. The first freight train screams through at 4:12 a.m., air brakes hissing like dragons. He surges forward, leash snapping him back so hard his hind legs skid out from under him. The train never slows. Boxcars blur past, graffiti and rust and empty windows. No one looks out. No one steps off. Another comes at dawn, passenger cars this time, windows glowing soft gold. He stands taller, tail giving one desperate wag. Faces peer out, sleepy commuters clutching coffee. A child presses her hand to the glass. For a moment his heart leaps, she sees him, she must see him, but the train roars on, carrying her away. Richard, the night officer, finds him at 6 a.m. during rounds. He knows this dog, he has seen the man yank him around the parking lot before. Richard sets down a paper bowl of water and a slice of jerky from his own lunch. The German Shepherd does not sniff it. He only stares down the tracks, ribs shuddering with each breath, eyes bloodshot but unblinking. Richard tries again at noon, then at dusk, then at midnight. The bowl stays full. The jerky hardens in the rain. 3 days. 3 nights. Every train that thunders through is the one. Every set of headlights sweeping across the platform is the truck coming back. He does not sleep. He does not eat. He waits, proud and breaking, the leash cutting deeper into his neck with every hopeless surge forward. Because he is a good dog. And good dogs wait forever. 4th night, just past 2 in the morning. The same truck crawls back, headlights off, tires crunching slow over broken glass and gravel. The German Shepherd knows the sound before it even turns into the lot. His whole body jerks upright, leash carving fresh blood as he strains, a cracked, desperate whine ripping out of him. The man steps out. Hood up, face hidden in shadow. He does not look toward the platform. He never does. In his arms is a small cardboard box, soggy from the rain, bottom already sagging. Something inside moves weakly, a pitiful shifting that makes the box tremble. The man walks past the bench, past the frantic barking that has gone hoarse, past the dog throwing himself against the leash until his paws leave bloody prints on the concrete. He walks to the edge of the platform, hops down into the rail yard where the weeds grow tall and the third rail still hums death on wet nights. 20 yards out, between 2 rusted freight cars that haven't moved in years, he sets the box down. One quick shake and a tiny puppy tumbles out, barely the size of a man's hand, soaked, shivering, eyes still sealed shut with newborn crust. A single, thin cry floats up, so small it almost drowns in the wind. The man nudges the box aside with his boot, turns, and walks away. He never once glances at the platform where the German Shepherd is screaming now, a raw, broken sound that echoes off the empty station walls and dies against the black mouths of the tunnels. The truck starts. Headlights still off. It rolls out slow, red taillights blinking once before disappearing around the bend. The puppy's cry comes again, weaker, carried on the cold air straight into the big dog's ears. He lunges so hard the bench groans on its bolts. His collar is a ring of fire. Blood runs warm down his chest. He watches the dark place where the tiny sound is coming from, chest heaving, eyes wide and wild with something new and terrible. He does not know it is the same blood running through that helpless body. He only knows the man left something else behind this time. And for the first time in 4 days, the German shepherd's gaze shifts from the empty tracks to the black rail yard beyond. 5th night. The rain has turned to sleet, hissing off the rails like snakes. Every train that passed tonight kept its windows dark, its doors sealed. No one came. No one ever will. The German shepherd has not closed his eyes in 100 hours. The leash is no longer nylon, it is a wire of raw skin and crusted blood. The bench is slick with it. His proud head hangs low now, but still turned toward the tunnel, still waiting, because waiting is all he has left of love. Then it comes again, the tiny sound. Not even a cry anymore. Just a faint, wet flutter, like a dying bird caught in the weeds. It drifts across the yard, so thin it almost breaks apart in the wind. He lifts his ruined neck. Ears strain forward. The sound is almost gone. Something inside him splits wide open. A low growl rolls out of his chest, not rage, not yet, but a decision older than words. He rises. Legs shaking from hunger, from cold, from 4 days of holding the same impossible hope. He backs up until the leash pulls his head sideways, until the collar bites bone. Then he lunges. Not toward the tunnel this time. Toward the dark yard. The leash snaps with a dry crack that echoes like a gunshot across the empty platform. He stumbles, free, blood spraying from the torn collar. For one stunned heartbeat he stands in the sleet, feeling the night on his neck where the rope used to be. The tiny flutter comes again. Barely there. He runs. Paws pounding over gravel, leaping the first rail, then the second. Into the black jungle of rusted boxcars and broken glass. Sleet slashes his face. The wind roars in his ears. He does not feel the cuts, does not feel the cold. Only the sound. Only the need. He crashes through weeds taller than his shoulders, chest heaving, heart hammering so hard it hurts more than the leash ever did. He will not let it die alone. Not tonight. Not the way he has been dying. He finds the puppy exactly where the man left it, wedged between 2 rails, half buried in frozen gravel and cigarette butts. The little body is so small it looks like a discarded toy, ribs fluttering under paper-thin skin, eyes glued shut, mouth gaping in a soundless scream for milk that will never come. The German shepherd lowers his great head and sniffs once. The scent slams into him, same blood, same betrayal, same cruel hand that tied the leash. A low, broken sound crawls out of his throat, not a growl, not a whine, something deeper, something that has no name. He noses the puppy gently, gently, rolling it from the deadly third rail. The tiny thing is ice. Its heart beats only because it hasn't realized it's allowed to stop. He circles once, twice, ears flat against the sleet, then folds his big body around it like a living wall. Chest to trembling back, tail curled over the fragile head, nose tucked against the paper-thin neck. He presses every degree of heat he has left into that dying spark. A freight train roars past 20 feet away, horn blasting, air brakes shrieking, sparks spitting from the wheels. The ground shakes so hard the puppy's bones rattle against his ribs. He does not flinch. He only tightens his hold, lowers his head until his muzzle covers the tiny face, shielding it from the wind and the blinding shower of ice. Another train. Then another. All night they come, metal thunder that never stops, never cares. Each blast of horn rips through him like a blade, but he stays. He stays until the sleet turns to snow, until his own blood freezes in the cuts on his neck, until the puppy's breathing slows and steadies against his heart. In the black between the roaring trains, he licks the crusted eyes clean, licks the frost from the tiny ears, licks and licks as if warmth could be poured from his tongue into that small, abandoned life. I've got you now. I'm here. I won't leave you. The words have no sound, but they beat inside his chest louder than any train. He curls tighter, making himself a cave, a furnace, a promise. Out on the platform, the broken leash flaps in the wind like a surrendered flag. Here, under the freight car, two hearts beat together, one huge and shattered, one barely begun, both refusing to die tonight. He keeps the puppy alive with nothing but the heat of a love the man never earned and will never understand. Dawn creeps in gray and merciless, the color of old ash. Richard has not slept. He sits on the cold bench with the German shepherd's head in his lap, one hand buried in the blood-crusted fur, the other cradling the puppy against his chest inside his coat. Both dogs breathe slow, shallow, alive. The big dog's eyes are half open, fixed on the tiny bundle. Every time the puppy stirs, the shepherd's tail thumps once against the concrete, weak, but there. Richard feels it like a pulse in his own wrist. He has seen a lot in 23 years on graveyard shift. Drunks, fights, suicides on the rails. But he has never seen a dog drag himself out of hell carrying something smaller than his own heart. The first commuter train of the morning sighs in at 5:47. Doors hiss open. A handful of early workers step off, bleary-eyed, coffee steaming in gloved hands. They stop. Phones come out slow, like people in church. Richard doesn't tell them to stop filming. He just keeps stroking the shepherd's ear and whispers the same thing over and over. I've got you both now. I've got you. By the time the sun burns through the clouds, the video is already everywhere. A bloodied, half-dead German shepherd collapsed at a train station, a newborn puppy tucked against his throat. The caption writes itself, "He broke his leash to save a life." Richard looks down at the dog whose name he still doesn't know. The shepherd's eyes are clearer now, fierce again, locked on the puppy as if the rest of the world has ceased to exist. Richard feels something settle in his chest, heavy and certain. This station just became holy ground. And the dog who was left to die here. He just became its guardian. The town will never be the same. Neither will Richard. Neither will any soul who sees that video and feels their heart crack clean open. Because some stories don't need words. They only need one look at a dog who refused to let another small thing die alone in the dark. And the world answers. It always answers. The first week, Richard never leaves the station. He sleeps on the floor beside the old couch he dragged into the ticket office, one hand always resting on the shepherd's ribs so he can feel the rise and fall. The puppy sleeps on the shepherd's chest, rising and falling with him, a tiny passenger on a ship that refuses to sink. People come in waves. Some bring blankets, some bring goat's milk warmed in thermoses, some just stand in the doorway and cry without knowing why. Richard stops asking them to leave. He only says, quiet voices. He's still deciding whether the world is safe. The shepherd decides slowly. He lets Richard clean the neck wound with saline that stings like fire. He lets children lay their small hands on his head, trembling, reverent. But the second anyone reaches for the puppy, his lip lifts just enough, silent, polite, final. Message received. The puppy is not up for discussion. By day 10 the station has a donation jar that overflows daily. Someone hangs a hand-painted sign above the bench, home of the rail yard heroes. The local diner renames its breakfast special, the Shepherd, 2 eggs, bacon, extra toast, proceeds to the dogs. Every morning a line forms. The puppy's eyes open. Storm cloud blue, identical to the big dog's. He takes his first wobbly steps across Richard's coat, falls, rights himself, tries again. The shepherd watches every inch of progress like it is the only thing worth guarding in the universe. Television crews arrive. Richard stands in front of the dogs with his arms crossed, voice flat. You can film from there. 10 minutes. No lights in their faces. They obey. Everyone obeys now. At night, when the station finally empties, Richard turns off all but one lamp. The shepherd lays his head across the puppy's back, ears flicking at every sound, body curved like a fortress. Richard sits beside them, boots off, coffee gone cold hours ago. He talks to them in the dark. About his wife who left, about the son who doesn't call, about how he always thought loyalty was something humans invented to feel better about themselves. The shepherd listens without judgment. The puppy snores tiny milk-drunk snores. Richard realizes he is no longer keeping watch over 2 abandoned dogs. He is living inside their orbit, pulled by a gravity stronger than his own loneliness. And every morning when the first train rumbles in, the shepherd lifts his head, not toward the tunnel anymore, but toward the puppy tumbling over his paws, chasing dust motes in the shaft of sunlight. For the first time in his life, the big dog is exactly where he is supposed to be. And the whole town knows it. And the whole world is starting to learn. Late afternoon, 3 weeks after the world fell in love. The station is quiet for once, only the low hum of vending machines and the puppy's soft snores from his blanket nest. Richard is outside sweeping cigarette butts when the pickup rolls in slow, no plates on the front, rust bleeding down the doors like old wounds. The man steps out. Same heavy boots, same dead eyes. He has shaved, put on a clean flannel shirt 2 sizes too big, as if clothes could hide what he is. He walks straight to the ticket office window and taps the glass with one knuckle. Richard opens the door. The shepherd is already standing. The big dog's entire body goes rigid. Hackles rise in a black wave from neck to tail. A sound comes out of him, low, continuous, nothing like any noise he has made since the night he broke the leash. It is the sound of every promise ever broken, every cruel hand ever raised, every cold night on concrete. The man smiles the way a snake smiles. "There's my boy," he says softly, voice syrupy with practice. "Been looking everywhere for you." The puppy whimpers and tries to hide behind the shepherd's front legs. Richard feels the air change, like just before lightning. He steps forward, but the shepherd is faster. 1 second he is 20 feet away. The next he is airborne. Teeth bared, shoulders low, a black thunderbolt aimed straight at the man's throat. Richard lunges, wraps both arms around the shepherd's chest at the last possible inch. They hit the ground hard together, Richard's shoulder taking the impact, the dog snarling and snapping inches from the man's face. The man stumbles back, smile gone, real fear flashing across his eyes for the first time in his life. "Easy, boy," Richard grunts, arms locked tight, feeling the shepherd's heart hammer against his own. "I got him. I got him." The dog trembles, vibrating with rage so pure it feels sacred. Saliva drips from his fangs. His eyes never leave the man's face. The man finds his voice again, thinner now. "That's my property," he says, pointing at both dogs. "Purebred shepherd and a bonus pup. Worth a lot of money now, thanks to all this attention." He pulls folded papers from his pocket, proof of ownership, vet records, lies printed neat and clean. Richard stands slowly, still holding the shepherd by the collar he hasn't worn since the night it snapped. The dog's growl never stops. "Get off my platform," Richard says, voice calm, deadly calm. "Before I let him finish what he started." The man hesitates, weighing greed against the very real chance he is about to die. He chooses greed. "He will bring the law," he says. "He will take what's his." He backs toward his truck, never turning, never blinking. The shepherd watches every step until the truck disappears. Only then does the growl die in his throat. He turns, walks back to the puppy, and lies down with his great body curved around the tiny one, nose to tail, shaking with something deeper than anger. Richard kneels, presses his forehead to the shepherd's. "They'll have to kill me first," he whispers. The dog licks the salt from Richard's cheek once, slow and deliberate. Message received. War has come to the station. And the shepherd is ready. Night before the hearing. Moon thin and cruel, just enough light to turn every shadow into a threat. Richard hasn't slept in 2 days. He sits on the bench where the leash once cut, shotgun across his knees, thermos gone cold hours ago. The station is dark except for one lamp burning inside the ticket office, spilling gold across the 2 sleeping dogs curled together like a single heartbeat. At 2:17 a.m. the pickup returns. No headlights. Engine cut half a mile out. 3 men this time. The owner and 2 others paid in cash and beer. They move quiet, bolt cutters swinging, faces wrapped in ski masks that can't hide the stink of desperation. They know the side gate code, someone sold it for $50. They are inside the fence before Richard even hears the latch. But the shepherd hears. He is up before the first boot touches concrete, a black silhouette exploding from the office doorway. No bark. No warning. Just the low, rolling thunder of a growl that means death has arrived. The first man raises the bolt cutters. The shepherd hits him center chest, jaws clamping on the arm that dares come near the puppy. Screams split the night. Metal clatters. Blood smells sharp and sudden. Richard is already running, shotgun up, roaring a warning that cracks like lightning. Lights flare on in every house around the station. Porch lights, floodlights, headlights. The whole town has been waiting too. People pour out in robes and boots and fury. Old men with deer rifles, mothers with cast-iron skillets, teenagers live streaming on phones held high. Within 90 seconds the platform is surrounded by a wall of bodies 3 deep. Police sirens wail closer, red and blue painting the night. The owner tries to run. He makes it 10 steps before 6 townspeople tackle him to the gravel. Someone zip-ties his wrists with the same cord he once used on the dog. He is still screaming about "my property" when they drag him past the shepherd. The big dog stands over the whimpering thief, blood on his muzzle, eyes burning with something ancient and final. The puppy peeks out from behind his legs, trembling but unharmed. Richard drops to his knees in front of the shepherd, hands shaking as he cups that great scarred head. "It's over, boy. It's over." The dog leans into him, whole body sagging with exhaustion and relief. For the first time since the night he snapped the leash, he closes his eyes. Behind them, the station lights glow warm against the dawn that is starting to bleed across the sky. The town stands guard in silence, weapons lowered, phones still recording. They all know what tomorrow's hearing will say. The law will only make official what every heart here already decided tonight. The dogs belong to no one who would hurt them. Ever again. And the man on the ground, bleeding and beaten and finally afraid, learns what loyalty really costs when it chooses to fight back. Sunset, the day the judge came to the platform. They moved the courtroom outside because no room could hold what needed to be said here. Folding tables, a single microphone, the same bench where the leash once bled him. The shepherd sits beside it now, untied, head high, puppy asleep against his chest like a warm coal. The man stands in orange jail scrubs, wrists cuffed, eyes on the ground. He does not speak when they read the charges: 2 counts of animal cruelty, abandonment, attempted theft. He only flinches when the judge asks the shepherd's name. Richard answers for him, voice steady, "He never had one you deserve to say." The judge does not sit in a high chair. She stands on the yellow safety line, wind tugging her robe, and speaks directly to the dog. "You are free. Your past ends here. No one will ever tie you to this bench again." She signs the order on the hood of Richard's cruiser. The pen scratches loud enough for the whole town to hear. Ownership revoked. Permanent. Final. Then she steps back, and a family walks forward, mother, father, 2 quiet children who have been here every single day with treats and gentle hands. They kneel. The little girl opens her arms. The puppy waddles straight into them, tail whipping like a metronome set to joy. The shepherd stays a moment longer. He rises slowly, walks to the edge of the platform, stands exactly where the leash once stopped him. Sun bleeds across the rails, turning them into molten gold. He looks down the empty tracks one last time. Nothing waits there now. No truck. No cruel voice. No hope that hurts. Only the long, straight line into a past that cannot touch him anymore. He turns. The family waits with the door of their van open, blankets piled high. The puppy is already inside, barking tiny happy barks that echo off the station walls. Richard stands beside them, eyes red, smiling like a man who just watched his own heart walk away on 4 legs. The shepherd crosses the platform in 6 unhurried strides. He pauses once at the bench, lowers his great head, and nudges the iron leg where the leash scars still ring the metal. A farewell. A promise kept. Then he climbs into the van, circles once, lies down with the puppy curled against his heart exactly where it belongs. The door slides shut. The van pulls away slow, tires humming over the same gravel that once drank his blood. Sun sinks behind the hills. The platform is empty again. Only the broken leash remains, flapping once in the evening wind like a tattered flag of victory, then falling still. He never looks back. He doesn't need to. Home is in the front seat now. And it is finally going the right direction. Somewhere out there tonight, under a quiet sky, that German shepherd is sleeping with the puppy tucked against his heart, both of them breathing easy for the first time in their lives. The leash is gone. The bench is empty. The man who broke them will never touch another living thing again. And every time the little one wakes from a nightmare, the big dog is already there, warm, steady, unbreakable, whispering without words. I've got you. I chose you. You are home. If you're a dog lover, tell me in the comments, have you ever looked into a dog's eyes and known, without a doubt, that they would die for you, and that you would do the same for them? Drop your story below. I read every single one. And if this one cracked your heart open the way it did mine, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because there are more dogs out there still waiting on cold platforms, still believing someone will come back. We owe them the next story. We owe them the next happy ending. See you in the next one, where another unbreakable heart refuses to give up.